Hey kids, it's November 25th, Tuesday. Tuesday, November 25th. It's 12:49 p.m. I have, if you might remember from yesterday, the towels are gone, plants there, pillows are gone. It's because I have an interview in 10 minutes. So I thought I'd record a little video for you first. It's interesting. So I had, this is my third interview with the company, which is normally a good sign. If a company wants to hire you for a job, they're normally going to have an initial interview with some low-level people. And if they like you, then you get passed along to a higher level person. And if they like you, you get hired along, you get passed along, you interview with the kind of the top person. So obviously that's where we're at. So I'm encouraged. All four people that I previously met in the last two interviews have all seemed to really like me. They thought I was well qualified just because of the education, my college, and they thought I had good experience because of what I've been doing for the last 15 years as a civilian. And they thought I'd be a good fit, which means they thought my personality, my attitude would fit in well with their team. Because sometimes you can have the experience doing the work and the education to know how to do the work. But if you're not the right kind of personality, maybe you're somebody who likes to talk a lot. And maybe they don't really like that. They like people who listen more. Or maybe you're somebody who works really good in an office and they all work remotely from their homes. Or the other way around. Maybe you're somebody who works really good remotely, don't like to be in an office, and they're all in an office. So anyhow, a lot of reasons could be not what they call a good fit. So anyhow, those first four people in the first two interviews, they thought I had the education, the experience, they thought I'd be a good fit. They asked me questions, I'd answer. Like, tell me about your favorite part of working at this company. And I'd tell them what I really liked about it. And they'd ask me, what was it? Tell me about a time you had a difficult deadline for a project and how you handled it. So I gave them an example. And that kind of gives them a sense on who I am, what I'm like, my approach. So the funny thing is, today I'm meeting with a guy, his name's Scott, and from 2012 to 2016, so 13 years ago until 9 years ago, I worked with him. It was the year that I married your mother, and then it was the year Cav was born, 2013, and then it was the year the twins were born, 2015. So for 4 years I worked at a company, and this guy, Scott, was at that company as well. I didn't work very closely with him. We were kind of on different teams within the company, but I knew his face, I knew his name, and I have no idea what he thought of me. Maybe he thought I was a cocky, arrogant, not very good. I was pretty darn good at that company. Made a lot of money. That's how we bought the new house. The house in Apple Valley. That's how we bought that one. I made a lot of money at that job. But maybe he didn't like me for that. Maybe he thought I was the guy who was doing so good and making so much money, and he just kind of didn't like me for that. Because maybe he was a little bit jealous. Maybe I saw him in the hallway one time, and he said hi nicely, and I didn't say hi back. And he thinks, ooh, that guy's rude. That guy's not nice. I don't know what he thinks of me, to be honest. And since now he's at this new company that's interviewing me, he gets to have the final say in whether or not I get hired. That's kind of scary, huh? I haven't seen this guy since 2016. What does he think now? What does he remember of me? Boy, I don't know. But there's a lesson there. What do you think that lesson is? For me, the lesson is I'm really glad that everybody I've ever worked with, I was always very nice to them. I was always very helpful. I would ask them, what can I do to help? If they were in a bad day, I'd say, how's it going? Anything I can do to help? That's kind of one of my favorite things to say is, what can I do to help? Because sometimes people will say nothing, or sometimes they'll just complain, and they just maybe want you to listen. Sometimes they'll have something you can do to help. But I know for me, if I'm having a bad day, I'd really like for somebody to ask, what can I do to help? That's a really nice thing. So I'm pretty confident that if I ever dealt with Scott personally, directly, I don't remember talking to him very much directly. But I think if I did, he probably would have thought, oh, that Ryan was a nice guy, I would hope. And even if not, I hope that he had heard from other people that Ryan is a nice guy, or that Ryan's a good person to have around. So I would say the lesson is to remember, in every single person you deal with, every person you come across, treat him with kindness. Treat him with kindness. Because you never know. Maybe it'll be 9 years later. 9 years later. 9 years. Almost as long as Fiona and Finnegan, almost your whole life. Maybe they'll be that person that has to decide whether or not you get hired for a job you really want, that you'd be good for it, and they get to decide. And what if you were a bully to them? What if you were rude to them 9 years ago? And they're going to remember that. They're going to say, I don't want that jerk here. So treat everyone with kindness. Maybe there's 1,000 people you come across in a day. If you treat them all with kindness, maybe one of those people will come back around. You run into them 9 years later. So anyhow, wish me luck. I prayed beforehand, so hopefully God will make happen whatever his plan is. If his plan is this job, the next job, who knows? But I'll have one soon. And I get to see you guys tomorrow. That's the best part. I get to see you guys in less than 24 hours. In 22 hours, I get to see you guys. But who's counting? Love you. Talk soon.